Welcome to A Student of Leadership, a micro-podcast where leaders are made one habit at a time. Hosted by Rob Adams, a leadership veteran with 30 years of experience, this podcast explores key concepts that define exceptional leadership. Each episode delves into a powerful word or strategy, offering practical insights and real-world stories. Whether you're just starting out or an experienced executive, join Rob as he guides you in learning, growing, and leading with purpose.
Tim Etherington Judge didn't just burn out. He broke down. Complete mental health crisis. Years of hospitality work, long hours, relentless pressure, the culture of just push through until his body said, I can't take it anymore. Enough. And here's what makes his story remarkable. He didn't just recover and go back to the same patterns. He founded Healthy Hospo, an organization now that operates in 27 countries, working with world-class experts, creating health and well-being programs tailored specifically for hospitality workers. His mission? To educate on good health and help prevent others from experiencing what he did. Welcome back, everyone, to A Student of Leadership, the micro-podcast powered by Unipro Food Service, and I'm your host, Robert Adams. This is episode 60, if you believe it, and today we're going to talk about leading when you're at capacity. Not how to do more, but how to protect the space you need to lead well. Today, I want you to sit right next to me, pull up a chair, because you're at the leadership table. Real leaders, real growth, one table. Let's start with the truth nobody wants to say out loud. You're drowning. Not because you're weak, not because you're doing it wrong, because the demands on leaders in this industry have become unsustainable. The numbers don't lie. 76% of employees experience burnout on the job at least sometimes. That's a Gallup study from 2024. 50% of restaurant managers anticipate leaving their current position within the next 5 years. 55% of CEOs and 50% of employees reported mental health issues in 2024. 60% of chefs report work negatively impacts their mental health. And in the food service space, we rank number 1 in employee burnout complaints, number 1 for substance use disorders, number 3 for number 3 for heavy alcohol use. This isn't a soft skills problem. This is a survival problem. In February 2026, at the Women in Restaurant Leadership Summit in Charleston, one of the most anticipated sessions had this title, Habits, Boundaries, and Self-Talk, Leading When You're at Capacity. The description said, every new year brings the pressure to do more, be more, and lead more. And for women in leadership, burnout and invisible labor are at an all-time high. Here's the paradox of leadership capacity. The more responsibility you take on, the more demands increase. But your capacity doesn't magically expand to match them. You're still only one person, one human being. 24 hours are in a day. A body needs rest and sleep. A nervous system that can only handle so much stress before it starts breaking down. Yet the unspoken expectation is leaders don't set boundaries. Leaders don't say no. Leaders push through it all. And that's precisely what kills good leaders. So let's talk about 3 ways today that leaders hit capacity. First, time capacity. You're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You haven't taken a real day off in months. You're answering texts at 11 p.m. and back at it by 6 a.m. Second, emotional capacity. You're absorbing everyone else's stress, crisis, and drama. Every problem becomes your problem. You're the shock absorber for your entire team, and it's crushing you. Third, decision capacity. You're making hundreds of decisions every single day. By evening, you can't even choose what to eat for dinner. Your brain is so overloaded that even simple decisions feel impossible. Does that sound familiar? You see, here's the problem. When you're at capacity, you can't lead well. You become reactive instead of strategic, short-tempered instead of patient, controlling instead of empowering. So what do? You set boundaries. Not because you're selfish, but because you're sustainable. Now let me walk you through the 4 types of boundaries that protect your personal capacity. Boundary number 1, first, time. This means protecting specific hours for rest, family, and recovery, and actually honoring them. So what does that look like? I don't respond to non-emergency texts after 9 p.m. I take 1 full day off per week, no exceptions. I block 2 hours out every Monday morning for strategic thinking. No meetings, no interruptions, period. Why does that matter? Because time capacity is finite. If you don't protect it, everyone else will surely consume it. Second, emotional boundaries. This means caring about your team without absorbing all their problems as your own. And what does this look like? I can help you solve this problem. I can't solve it for you. I care about what you're going through. That doesn't mean I'm responsible for fixing it. I'm your manager, not your therapist, but I can help you find resources. Why does this matter? You see, empathy without boundaries leads to burnout. You can care deeply without carrying everything, the entire burden. And third, role boundaries. This means being clear about what is your job and what isn't, and protecting that distinction. What does this look like? That's not something I need to be involved in. Who on your team can handle that? I hired you to manage this. I trust you to figure it out. My job is to set strategy and remove obstacles. Execution is yours. Why does this matter? If you do everyone else's job, they'll never grow, and you never have capacity for yours. Fourth, quality boundaries. This means accepting that not everything is going to be perfect and deciding what deserves your A game. What does this look like? This needs to be excellent. That just needs to be done. I'm going to spend 80% of my energy on the 20% of tasks that matter most. Good enough is good enough for this. And why does that matter? Perfectionism is a capacity killer. Strategic mediocrity frees you to be excellent where it counts. Now, here's what research shows happens when leaders operate at capacity without any boundaries. Physical health starts to deteriorate. In fact, the CDC estimates 75% of all doctor visits are stress-related. Decision quality plummets like a rock. Exhausted leaders make significantly worse decisions. Team performance suffers because of it. In fact, Gallup found that managers account for 70% of variance in employee engagement. Burnt-out managers create disengaged teams. Turnover increases, both your own and your team's. Mental health declines. Chronic workplace stress is directly linked to anxiety, depression, and yes, substance abuse disorders. Operating at capacity isn't sustainable. It's slow motion self-destruction. Now, where does AI show up in this conversation? Because here's where technology genuinely helps with capacity management. AI can automate routine tasks, scheduling, inventory tracking, basic reporting. It can reduce decision fatigue, data-driven recommendations for common choices. It can handle first-level customer inquiries, chatbots for reservations and basic questions. It can streamline communication, summarizing long email threads, drafting responses. But here's the trap. AI can create time capacity, but it cannot create emotional capacity or protect your boundaries. In fact, AI can make the capacity problem worse if you use it to do more instead of to protect space. The right question here isn't, how can AI help me get more done? The right question is, how can AI help me protect my capacity for what only I can do? So here's your invitation for this week. Don't try to fix everything at once. That's how you got overwhelmed in the first place. This week, I want you to choose one boundary to establish. Just one. Monday and Tuesday, identify your biggest capacity drain. Where are you most over capacity? Is it time, emotional energy, role confusion, quality perfectionism? Just pick one that's costing you the most. On Wednesday, set one specific boundary. Not I'll work less, that's too vague. Try no work texts after 9 p.m., except genuine emergencies. Or Thursday afternoons are protected time, no meetings. Or I'll not jump in to fix problems my managers can handle. So be very specific. That's the key. Thursday, communicate the boundary. Tell your team, your boss, whoever needs to know, starting this week, I'm not responding to texts after 9 p.m. unless it's an emergency. Here's what qualifies as an emergency. And then you give them the rest. On Friday, I want you to enforce the boundary. This is the hard part. Someone will test it. They always do. Hold the line anyway. The first time is always the hardest. After that, it gets much easier. On Monday's Leadership Table newsletter, I give you the full framework, all 4 types of boundaries, the research behind why they matter, and a 5-day implementation plan. When we hit Wednesday's Breaking Bread newsletter, I share 5-minute capacity check-ins you can use at the start of any shift. And on Fridays, the Mindful Leader helps you examine what leading at capacity is costing you. The invisible costs nobody talks about. Yep, these are all different conversations, but the same commitment to sustainable leadership. You see, Tim Etherington Judge's breakdown didn't have to happen, and neither does yours. Boundaries are not selfish. They're sustainable. You can't lead well when you're leading from an empty tank. And in an industry where 76% of people experience burnout, where half of restaurant managers are planning their exit, where food service ranks number 1 for burnout complaints, protecting your capacity isn't an optional decision. It's survival. You see, food gave us roots. Leadership gives us purpose. Real leaders, real growth, one table. This is Robert Adams, your micro podcast host. As always, I'll see you next time at the Leadership Table. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Student of Leadership. Leadership is about who we become and how we help others grow. If you found value in this podcast, share it with a fellow leader and connect with Rob on LinkedIn or leave a review. New episodes drop weekly, so don't forget to subscribe to stay connected. Until next time, keep learning, growing, and leading with intention. Remember, great leaders are made one habit at a time. See you next time on A Student of Leadership.